right, David. So what does generational wealth mean to you?
What do you mean, what does it mean to me? What do you mean by that?
What do I mean? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, like what do you mean by that? Like what does it mean to me in regards to what? Like my career? What are we talking about?
I mean, what's the importance that you place upon building it?
I don't know. When it comes to what, money?
Yeah, when it comes to money.
Well, all right, let me start here. I think when we say, like my shirt, it says build generational wealth. I think when we talk about building generational wealth, I think the problem we make is that we only equate it to money.
Yeah.
And monetary gain. So, like for me personally right now, before I get to the money part, like I want to build generational wealth in terms of love for my family. I read a book by Bell Hooks that's called All About Love, and in the book she talks about how like your family love is the foundation for everything. And when I think of that, I think of how outside of money, the thing I want the most is to be in a relationship, to be loved, to get married, to have kids, and all this stuff.
Right.
So for me, before I think I would want to start building generation in terms of money, like I need to make sure that I feel loved in my generation right now, with my parents. I need to, so that when I have children, they feel loved. You know what I mean? And then now I'm starting a different cycle of love, so that now there's mental space and space in terms of their soul and their spirit for them to want to do things in regards to their career, and they have the space to do it mentally, right? Because we all deal with this thing in life where like either family drama, relationship drama, you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like all that shit kind of gets in the way, and we often can't focus on making money because like we can't go home and work to build that extra, source of income. And I feel like generational wealth needs to be focused on love and family first, and then once we're able to do that, then I think we can get to a better place to where we can build generational wealth in terms of other avenues such as money.
So would you say that your ultimate goal in life is to be a father and a husband and have your own family and kind of pass those things along?
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely that in the icing on the cake is that I have a lot of money to do it.
Okay, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's just the icing on the cake, but I don't think that should be the goal.
How important is the word legacy to you? What does that word mean to you?
Ooh. Legacy?
Yeah.
When I think of legacy, I think about my dad. My dad's a UPS driver. He's been a UPS driver since I was like a kid. Like everyone in my neighborhood knew my dad was the UPS driver. And I think about how cool a lot of my friends thought it was that my dad was a UPS driver. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm just like, yeah, who cares? Yeah, he's a UPS driver.
Right.
All along I didn't realize that I think a lot of my friends wish they just had their dad around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to come to eat lunch with me when I was in elementary school. And I think when I think of legacy, I think of that. I think of the ability to be present.
That's strong.
And I think about how that ability to be present is a domino effect, because now there's a legacy. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of your last question. There's a legacy of care and love there, right? I'm always going back to this word, this L word. You know what I mean? Other than legacy. And I think about how my dad was at my basketball games in his UPS uniform.
Yeah.
The irony. You know what I'm saying? My dad, he came to my high school graduation where I got like awarded my scholarships. He had on his UPS outfit. When I went to prom, I have a picture with him. He had on his UPS outfit. And when I think of legacy, I think of being so selfless to put everything, being so selfless to put everything in the back burner and to make sure that you're present for your family. And that could be, showing up, not in a suit, but you know what? Your UPS uniform.
Right.
And I know that's weird to say, or a weird metaphor to use, but for me, legacy is being there and being present, and knowing that that's enough. Because for a lot of people, that is enough. How many times have you been let down because people just weren't there?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that leaves what kind of legacy? That leaves a negative legacy where you're let down, and now that becomes the norm. Right now, guess what? You often are not gonna think it's a big deal to not be there because your parents weren't there. Now your kids, when they get older, they end up not being there for their kids, and they think that's okay, and it's not. You know what I mean? But why that happened? Because we built a false legacy on things that we were just taught growing up. Often our parents, right? Our parents they're just doing what they were raised on, and we don't,
right.
and we often don't question what kind of legacy does that leave. So I mean, that's the extended version.
Let me ask you this: now, have your parents been together since you were born?
Yeah, my parents.
Okay.
I have the privilege of coming from a 2-parent household.
Right.
So.
So that kind of leads me to my next question, which is, do you think it's still possible for, like, say, a broken family, for lack of a better term, to build, generational wealth by co-parenting? Is that possible? Is that likely?
Definitely. And as long as love is present, I think that, because I don't believe there is no. We're all our families are broken. My family's broken. We're just talking about one facet of my family. We all have broken families, but that's the cool thing, is that we stick together close enough to glue it back together.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, like, it has nothing to do with if you come from a 2-parents household. It has nothing to do with if your dad was there or not. What does matter is the love that we allow to be present, right? And that there's a consistency with that. Whether that's just mom, whether that's just dad, whether that's just grandma. I think it's something that is all attainable for us, as long as we try to lead with love. And like another book I read said, let love have the last word. So I think it's all there for us. You know what I mean? I just think it's up to us to make sure that we're present so that we can give the love. I think that's the key factor right there. We always got to be present to give the love. Whether you're a single parent, whether you're a co-parent, or whether you're together with your spouse, being there for another. You know what I mean? So
what do you say to those people that maybe they have trouble being present and pouring in that love where they need to because the distractions of the world, or maybe they are working like a double shift and they're trying to make ends meet? How do they kind of refocus and be mindful of that? Any kind of tips?
I don't know. I think that's something I'm figuring out for myself. Because I work a lot. I have my businesses. I have all my stuff I'm trying to do entrepreneurship wise, and I often get tunnel vision. You know what I mean? And I often forget to love my family in the way I need to. I often forget to love my sister in the way that I want a young man to love her. And I think I fall short of that sometimes. And I'm still trying to figure it out for myself. So I don't know. I mean, that's a part of being on this ride. No pun intended. But
Right.
I think that's a part of life. Just trying to figure that out. One thing I can say is making sure that your cup is full is important. Right? You talk about pouring into other people. You know what I mean? I think one thing I try to do is make sure that, like, my cup is full. I make sure I'm doing things that make me happy. Writing poetry. You know what I mean? Working out. Hanging out with you. Hanging out with Tyler. Hanging out with my friends.
Right.
Those things pour into my cup. So that hopefully, you know what I mean, when there is time for me to give to somebody, I'm not empty. And I don't walk away feeling drained or dry. You know what I'm saying? That happens a lot sometimes. So, yeah.